Well, our old wooden giant circus mallet has finally succumbed to the ravages of time and being used heavily. The head of it's cracked and split. The bands have fallen off. And because I have actually used this for things, I'm going to go ahead and try and make another head for it. And that's going to start off with going out into the woods with a chainsaw and finding a piece of a tree somewhere that I can cut up that I can probably make a new head out of for this. And this is what I came up with when I went out in the woods. A piece of elm. It's been dead for a while. We're going to mark it up to try and get at least close to straight and about the same size as the other head. And cut it off with a chainsaw. And then we're going to mark the ends so we get the right diameter. And again, we're going to go to cut it with a chainsaw, but this time to try and hold it, I'm going to go ahead and screw a board onto it. It's a little bit more of a solid base. And once that's solid, we're going to go out there and get the chainsaw going. Now I used that same piece of OSB that I was just using with the chainsaw and screwed some boards cut on 45s onto it to make myself a little stand to hold it while I'm working on it. And I was planning on trying to get this small enough that I could get it onto a lathe, or perhaps a lathe-shaped object. But the angle grinder was working so well to remove material, I just decided that this was the way to go. So I pretty much did all the shaping with a flap disc on the angle grinder. I just kind of brought it down to the outside dimension I wanted on each end, and then worked towards the middle from each end. And that's what I'm doing here is the second side I'm marking where it was, what it needed to be, and if I needed to take any more off. And I'll mark the inside of the ring and give myself a line to go to fit the rings on. I'll mark how deep I need to cut into the sides. And again, just using an angle grinder and a flap disc, grind away some wood. Actually, like this with a fresh flap disc, it was almost too easy to grind away too much too fast. You had to be very careful with it. And since the rings weren't perfectly round to start with, I'm not sure a lathe would have made it any easier. Plus, I didn't have a lathe big enough really to fit this piece on it. I would have had to have rigged something up with an electric motor and some bearings and various junk that I had laying around. Once I had the rings pounded on, I went ahead and put some screws in the holes that were there in the rings already. Hold them in place. Now drilling the holes I actually did with Foster bits over on the drill press. Probably not, I don't know if there is a good solution for this larger hole, but probably not great. They're 1 5/8 holes. And I drilled from both sides to try to get them to line up, and I managed to almost hit perfectly lining up the holes, which just, I think, proves you it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. It didn't quite get all the way through. I couldn't quite reach far enough with the bits, so I took the center out. There was just a little, maybe quarter-inch thick piece in the center that I had to knock out with a chisel and the files and rasps. And then the old handle fit right in. Now it's pretty much done and functional, but we're going to pretty up it a little bit after this. Give it some paint and some oil to finish it up. For that, we're going to mask it off, what we don't want painted, and we're just going to spray paint the ends. And then some boiled linseed oil to finish the wood in the center. And if you make a giant hammer on YouTube, giant wooden mallet, you've got to use it to smash some stuff.